The movie opens in the heart of Rome, inside a sprawling, chaotic railway terminal. This setting is crucial because it establishes the primary conflict: order versus chaos. We meet Armando, a man in his 60s who has spent his entire career as a railway engineer. He is a man of precise schedules, strict protocols, and a quiet, dignified existence. As he navigates the crushing crowds of the station, the film highlights his frustration. He is looking for his specific train compartment, but the sheer volume of humanity makes it impossible. In this moment of frustration, the film introduces the catalyst, Sophia. A young, breathtakingly beautiful woman rushes up to him, impulsively calling him Papa in a burst of confusion. She has mistaken him for her own father. The mistake is corrected almost immediately, and she is mortified, blushing with genuine embarrassment. But the interaction is not a simple oops moment. Sophia is vibrant, fast-talking, and carries an energy that is the complete antithesis of Armando's reserved, structured world. They discover they are both passengers on the same train heading to the same city. Sophia, ever the social butterfly, tries to help Armando with his luggage, but Armando is a man who trusts only himself. He politely but firmly declines. Just as the train begins to pull out of the station, she makes one last attempt to assist him, and in the clumsiness of the movement, she accidentally injures him. It's a minor physical setback, but it's the first breach in Armando's personal fortress. Armando has sought out a private cabin for the journey. He wants the peace and quiet he is accustomed to. However, the train is not just a mode of transport in this film, it's a crucible. As the train enters a long, pitch-black tunnel, the entire cabin is plunged into total darkness. In that brief window of obscurity, the door slides open. When the train exits the tunnel and the cabin is flooded with light, Armando is not alone. Sophia is there, methodically placing her luggage in his private space. She explains that her own cabin was overrun by loud, rowdy passengers, forcing her to seek refuge. Armando is incensed. He views this as a violation of his boundaries, a symptom of the modern world's lack of decorum. To his eyes, Sophia is a reckless, intrusive, perhaps even bad girl who doesn't respect personal space. To Sophia's eyes, Armando is nothing more than a grumpy, aging man who is bitter about his fading youth. The argument that ensues is the heart of the first act. It is a clash of generations. But as the miles roll by, the friction begins to heat up and paradoxically turn into a strange sort of warmth. Sophia reveals she is a nurse, a profession that demands patience, empathy, and a deep understanding of human frailty. When Armando reveals his background as a retired railway engineer, the power dynamic shifts. Sophia becomes the listener. She is genuinely intrigued by his history, his perspective, and the stories he has accumulated over a lifetime. Armando, for his part, realizes that his rigid silence has been a form of self-imposed isolation. He begins to talk, and for the first time in years, someone is hanging on every word. They reach their destination having bridged a canyon of age and philosophy. They share a taxi, and the intimacy of the train journey carries over. Sophia talks about her life, her struggles, and her upcoming plan to meet her fiancé, John, to discuss their marriage. Armando listens, now fully invested in her story. They part ways at the destination, with Armando believing this was just a fleeting, eccentric chapter in his life. However, life in this film does not allow for clean endings. Armando reaches the site of his professional meeting on time, but shortly thereafter, Sophia appears. Her entrance is a spectacle. Her beauty is so potent that it turns heads and stops conversations. She finds Armando and reveals the reason for her sudden reappearance. Her fiancé, John, is delayed by a day. This leaves her with time to fill, and she naturally gravitates toward the one person who actually listened to her on the train. The trouble starts when Armando attempts to check into his hotel. A clerical error in the booking leaves him stranded without a room. It is a moment of total vulnerability for a man who hates surprises. Sophia, never one to let a problem go unsolved, steps in. She takes him to her own hotel. When they arrive, they hit another wall. The hotel is fully booked, with no other options, and with the night closing in, Sophia insists he share her room. Armando is terrified. He is an older man, a gentleman, and he is acutely aware of how this looks. But he is also a pragmatist. He has nowhere else to go. Before they settle in, they share a meal. The conversation flows easily, bridging the gap between two very different human experiences. When they finally return to the room, the single bed becomes an elephant in the space. Armando is frozen, inhibited by his own morality and his age. Sophia, however, enjoys the tension. She teases him, pushes his boundaries, and laughs at his discomfort. It's a game to her, a way to puncture his stoic, engineering-grade ego. Sophia eventually falls asleep, but Armando remains a prisoner of his own thoughts, awake and wrestling with the absurdity of his predicament. The next morning, the reality of the situation hits like a hammer. John, the fiancé, arrives at the hotel early. He walks into the room expecting a reunion and instead finds Armando, an elderly man, and Sophia's belongings. The jealousy is immediate and blind. John doesn't want the truth, he wants a villain. He ignores Armando's desperate, rational attempts to explain the hotel booking error. John explodes into a rage, forcing Armando to pack his things and exit the room. Outside in the hallway, Armando listens as John screams at Sophia. Sophia, instead of de-escalating, turns defiant. She baits John, fueling his anger. Listening to this, Armando makes a judgment. Sophia is a destructive, volatile person. He leaves the city determined to put this chaos behind him. He returns to his home city seeking the stability of his wife, Maria. He needs to recount the event to ground himself. Maria, a social worker by trade, is a woman of immense wisdom and constant activity. She is the anchor in his life. When she finally finds time to listen, Armando spills the entire story of the train, the hotel, and the jealousy. He expects her to be upset or jealous. Instead, Maria laughs. She sees the comedy in it. She trusts Armando so implicitly that the idea of Sofia being a threat is absurd to her. It is a testament to the strength of their 40-year bond. But the story isn't over. One night, while Armando is hosting a party, he receives a call. It's Sofia. She is waiting outside his house. Armando wants to refuse to see her, but Maria, displaying a strange mix of confidence and pity, tells him to go talk to her. Sofia confesses that the engagement to John is completely over. She is single, lonely, and she has attached her needs to Armando. Armando tries to play the role of the mature, married man, telling her she needs to find a companion her own age. Sofia brushes this off with a directness that leaves him speechless. She likes him. She enjoys his company. She doesn't care about the future in the way he does. Hearing the intense debate from inside, Maria invites them both in. This is the moment where the film breaks all traditional genre expectations. Maria welcomes Sofia. She is grateful to Sofia for keeping Armando company, realizing that her own work has left him neglected. In a move that defies all conventional logic, Maria gives Sofia permission to take Armando out to lunch. The lunch is a surreal, uncomfortable experience. Sofia brings her parents along, and they treat Armando not like an interloper but like a future son-in-law. They discuss a potential engagement. Armando is bewildered. He is sitting there, an elderly man, being courted by the parents of a woman in her 20s. He doesn't understand their approval, nor does he understand Sofia's intent. He flees the lunch, confused and overwhelmed. When he gets home, he confesses his confusion to Maria. He realizes he has developed genuine feelings for Sofia, and he expects Maria to stop him. Instead, Maria realizes that she has been too busy to provide the companionship Armando needs. She gives him her blessing to pursue a relationship with Sofia, hoping it will make him happy. And so the affair begins. It is not clandestine. It is an open exploration of life. They spend their days together, walking, laughing, joking. Armando finds a vitality he thought he had lost years ago. Sofia becomes his mirror, reflecting a version of himself that is young, vibrant, and interesting. Maria watches this unfold and is genuinely happy that Armando has found a new lease on life. But then, the final, heartbreaking pivot. Armando goes to meet Sofia at a hotel for their usual rendezvous. He arrives and discovers the truth about her life. He finds out that Sofia has married John's father. It is a moment of total clarity. John's father is a man of a similar age to Armando, but he is a wanderer. He has no money, no stability, and no fortune. He is a man who lives for the experience. Armando realizes he had fundamentally misunderstood Sofia. He had spent months thinking she was a scam artist or a manipulator, or that she was playing some deep game to secure his fortune. He now realizes that Sofia simply had a genuine, pathological, and authentic attraction to older men. She didn't want his money. She wanted the wisdom, the history, and the experience that only age can provide. She wanted the father archetype in every man she dated, regardless of their social standing or bank account. Armando returns home, a broken man. He is not broken because he lost her, but because he realizes how wrong he was about her and about himself. Maria tries to comfort him, but the realization is profound. He finally understands that the time he spent with Sofia was not a trick. It was a genuine exchange of affection that he was too cynical to accept. He realizes she wasn't a villain. She was just someone living by a set of rules that he was too rigid to comprehend. The story concludes not with a tragedy, but with an acceptance. Armando finds solace in the fact that he was actually loved in his own strange way for exactly who he was. He realizes that for a few short weeks he lived a life of color in a world of gray. He accepts that while their paths had to diverge, the experience taught him how to be happy again. The movie ends with Armando finding peace, no longer the bitter old engineer, but a man who has learned that the most profound encounters are often the most forbidden and the most unexpected.